Alexander Cross had everything money could buy. A penthouse overlooking the city, cars that cost more than most homes, a name that opened every door. But he had not slept in years. Every night, he dreamed of a silver ring and a girl with dark hair who had promised to wait. The maid came on Tuesdays and Thursdays, always when he was not there. She cleaned his penthouse, polished his floors, left his mail on the table. He had never seen her face. He did not know her name. She was just another employee, invisible, forgettable. Then, one Tuesday, he came home early. A migraine, a canceled meeting, a twist of fate that would change everything. He walked into his penthouse and saw her kneeling by the fireplace, her back to him, her hands dusting the mantel. And on her finger, a silver ring caught the light. He froze. The world stopped. His heart, which had been a cold machine for 20 years, began to pound. He knew that ring. He had scratched its twin into a piece of tin when he was 8 years old, in an orphanage on the night before they were taken away. She turned at the sound of his breath, and he saw her face for the first time. She was older, her hair streaked with gray, her hands rough from work. But her eyes, those dark, steady eyes, were the same eyes that had watched him from the bottom bunk, promising to wait. "Lily," he said, and the name came out like a prayer. Her hand flew to her chest, her face went pale, and the silver ring on her finger seemed to glow. "Alexander," she whispered. "Is it really you?" He crossed the room in 3 strides, and for a moment, neither of them could speak. They sat on the couch, the billionaire and the maid, 2 orphans who had been torn apart 20 years ago. She told him about the foster homes, the years of moving, the day she lost track of where he had gone. He told her about the adoption, the business, the fortune he had built trying to find her. "I never stopped looking," he said, and his voice was rough. "I hired investigators. I searched databases. I went back to the orphanage a dozen times. But you had vanished. Your name had changed. There was no trail." She touched his hand, her fingers cold against his. "I changed my name when I was adopted. I thought you would not want to find me." She had kept the ring hidden for years, wearing it only when she was alone, afraid someone would take it from her. It was the only thing she had from her life before, the only proof that someone had once loved her. She had worn it to work by accident that morning, forgetting to take it off, and now he had seen it. "Do you still have yours?" she asked. He pulled a chain from beneath his shirt, and on it hung a silver ring worn thin by 20 years of wear. It matched hers perfectly, the same date, the same initials, the same promise scratched into the metal. "I never took it off," he said. "Not once." The story spread through the company like wildfire. The billionaire and the maid, the orphan promise, the ring that had survived 20 years. Reporters called, photographers camped outside, and the world watched to see what would happen next. He did not care. He had found her. Nothing else mattered. She tried to leave. She was embarrassed, overwhelmed, afraid of what people would say she was a maid. He was a billionaire. They were from different worlds now, and the gap between them seemed impossible to cross. But he followed her to the elevator, caught her hand, and refused to let go. "You promised," he said, and his voice broke. "You promised you would wait, and I promised I would find you. I kept my promise. Now you have to keep yours." She looked at him, at the man who had been a boy in the bunk above hers, at the silver ring on his chest, and she began to cry. "I was so afraid," she whispered. "I was so afraid you had forgotten me." He pulled her into his arms, held her against his chest, felt her tears soak through his shirt. "I could never forget you," he said. "You were the only good thing in my life. You are still the only good thing." They went back to the orphanage together, a billionaire and a maid, holding hands like the children they had been. The building was still there, worn and faded, the same iron gates, the same cracked steps. They stood in the courtyard where they had made their promise, and the years fell away. "Do you remember the tree?" she asked, pointing to an old oak in the corner. He nodded, his eyes wet. I carved our names in the trunk. I used a piece of glass I found in the yard. I got in trouble for it, but I did not care. She laughed, and the sound was the same laugh he had loved when they were children. He proposed that night in the penthouse where she had cleaned his floors. He knelt before her, a ring in his hand, not silver this time, but diamond, bright and beautiful. She looked at the ring, then at him, and shook her head. "I do not need a diamond," she said. "I have worn your ring for 20 years. I will wear it for 20 more." She never became a socialite. She never learned to love the parties, the galas, the world of the rich and famous. She remained herself, simple and steady, the girl who had promised to wait. And he loved her more for it, because she was the only thing in his life that was real. They were married in the spring, in the courtyard of the orphanage, under the old oak tree where they had carved their names. The children who lived there now stood at the windows, watching, wondering. He did not invite the press, the celebrities, the business partners. He invited no one but her and the ghosts of the children they had been. On their wedding night, she took his hand and placed it over her heart. "I kept my promise," she said. He kissed her forehead, her cheek, her lips. "So did I," he said. And in the quiet of the penthouse, with the city lights glittering below them, two orphans who had lost each other and found each again held on to what they had always known. Some promises are forever. Some love is worth waiting for. And some rings, no matter how worn, are worth more than all the gold in the world.